Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Today we are continuing the Quentin Tarantino series, which is a very long series. It's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. We've been doing it for probably a couple months now, and we still have a couple more months to go. But we are finally at some of the more beefy ones. We're in the 90s. We're in the 2000s now. Well, we just kind of flew past the 90s. We're finally into the 2000s where you got a lot of his really longer movies for one, but a couple of his really more, generic Tarantino film where they're kind of shorter but very to the point. And we're going to start talking about Kill Bill, Volume 1. Kill Bill Volume 1 was released in 2003 and it was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. And no spoilers, but essentially the idea of this film is that this bride was not quite murdered, but brutally beaten up, and her unborn child was dead. At least I think she was unborn. It's complicated. Something happened to the child. We don't know for sure. But essentially, about 4 years later, the bride is upset and is trying to take revenge on Bill. But before she can get to Bill, she has to kill all the other people that were also involved with the mass murder. And it's creative. It's a very creative film, and I don't think the plot is very creative, but I think that the way that the filming techniques are quite creative, especially for the time. I mean, it's a 2000s film, and really what we see here is we see a lot of different techniques. Not all of them are necessarily on purpose. Some of them are forced for other reasons, but techniques nonetheless, right? Like, we have a lot of black and white in this film, and the main reason for that was the blood would have given an R rating, and he didn't want it to be that. Maybe it already has an R rating, but it would have gotten a higher rating than it already did, and Tarantino did not want that, so he toned down the blood a little bit by making it black and white, which is smart. But I don't really like when directors do that kind of thing, where they do something because they have to make it for a certain audience, more so than the style choice. But I think it did work. I mean, it wasn't bad to watch. It was really interesting. I like that kind of part. And there's also a part here where it's all animation. Anime, I should say, because it is Japanese. Where we have the backstory of one of the villains. We see a lot of it in anime, which I think was cool. It kind of lost my interest for a little bit because I don't really care about anime at all. So it did lose my interest a little bit, but I think it's a cool idea nonetheless. The characters are fun, but I do have a couple issues with the characters. Mainly, the issues that I have are the arcs that we don't really finish. We talk a lot about a lot of the villains' backstories that have nothing to do with anything that's about to happen. We're like, yeah, we have a lot of backstory, a lot of really bad things that happen, but we're just going to kind of skip past all that, and we're just going to pick up here. And it's like cool. Like, I like knowing the backstories. Knowing the backstories is cool. But the fact that, like, then we just kind of fast forward and then they're done, like the characters are just done, kind of feels redundant. And it's not long of a film. It's like, what, 2 hours? It's like 2 hours. So it's not like it's a long film. But, like, it just feels like it could have been much shorter if we cut out a lot of the backstory that honestly didn't help with the film at all. I also take issue a little bit with the name of the main character, which is just simply known right now as the bride. Okay? And we don't know the person's name because I guess Tarantino wanted it to be kind of vague. He didn't want anybody to know the name because he didn't want it to become, like, he wanted it to be a very generic person. He's like, this person is fighting these people, and like, he didn't want us to get connected, and I don't understand why that was a choice, because I think the whole point of the film in terms of getting to know characters is getting to know the characters and what they are doing, why they're doing it. So I don't really know why they bleep out the person's name. I don't know why. It's really frustrating because, like, it doesn't make sense in my opinion. I don't see why we do it, but they did. They bleeped out the names. We only know the bride, and so let's talk about that character for a little bit. So it's Uma Thurman who plays the bride. And the bride is a cool character. Like regardless of anything that I've already previously said, it's a fun character. It's cool to watch. It really is interesting to watch her fight and all that stuff, which I think that Uma Thurman was definitely the right choice. I think she was wonderful in this film. And that brings me to the fight sequences, which I thought were very, very, very well done. The fight sequences are really cool. A lot of them are fantastic, they feel real, and they're really, really cool to watch all the action. The issue that I had with some of it, though, is that they did use a lot of wires that you can kind of clearly see. You can't see the wires, but you can see that it's clearly wire work. Like, some guy just, like, jumps and he floats, and it's like, okay, but that's dumb. And on top of that, like, the fighting style is cool, but the blood is unrealistic. Like, there's one part where somebody's head gets chopped off, and there's just geysering blood for, like, literally, like, 30 seconds. And it's just completely unrealistic. And I don't really get why they had to do that. They could have just not done that, and it would have been just as good. So I do take a little issue with that. I just find it really dumb that we decided to go the route where they kind of made it seem like a gag, even though it kind of wasn't. If it was set in more real life, where yeah, this guy's head just got chopped off, but like it made sense for it to happen, and then afterwards, of course, like the head rolls around, of course, and like there's blood, but it's not spurting outwards like a geyser. That's not the only example. There's so many other ones where this happens in the film that honestly just didn't make the film better. It didn't necessarily make it worse, but it definitely didn't make it better. So I don't really get why we had to do that. We belabored the point there quite a lot. Overall, it's definitely a fun movie. It's a fun movie to watch. I definitely would like to watch it with friends at some point. It's an interesting movie. I like the characters. Just a lot of them are overdone for no reason, and a lot of the action is just overdone in terms of the amount of blood for no reason whatsoever, other than the fact that like it is appealing to have blood in movies. So it does annoy me at least a little bit. But I'm gonna go ahead and give Kill Bill Volume 1 an A-. It's an okay film. It is currently available on HBO Max at the time of filming this, so if you're interested in watching it, check out there. It should be there still. They kind of have most of Tarantino's films always there. So if you're interested in watching that, make sure you check that out. Make sure you're subscribing, because if I'm not already at 150 by the time this video comes out, once we hit 150, I'm going to be dressing up like Spider-Man and going to Walmart. So if you want to see that, definitely subscribe, like the video, share with your friends, and as always, keep watching movies and television, stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.